My husband did not know the baby monitor was streaming live to my phone when he brought his mistress into our home. He did not know I could hear his voice from 3 states away. He did not know I was sitting in a hotel conference room, frozen in front of my laptop, while 30 hospital executives waited for me to continue my presentation. He did not know our baby was asleep upstairs. He did not know the camera in the nursery hallway had turned on because the sound sensor picked up the front door closing too hard. And he definitely did not know I heard him laugh when his mistress looked around my living room and said, "So this is where she thinks she's queen." My name is Naomi Bennett. At that time, I was 34 years old, married for 7 years, and mother to a 1-year-old baby girl named Lily. I was also the woman paying most of the bills in a house my husband liked to call ours whenever he needed comfort, and mine whenever he wanted authority. That afternoon, I was in Chicago for work. It was my first major business trip after giving birth, and I had almost canceled it 3 times because leaving Lily felt like someone had taken one of my lungs and asked me to breathe normally. My husband, Adrian Cole, had promised me everything would be fine. "Naomi," he said while I packed, "I am her father. I can handle 2 nights." I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him, because I had spent the first year of motherhood doing almost everything: night feedings, doctor visits, diaper runs, sleep training, daycare forms, laundry, breast pump parts, insurance calls, tiny socks that vanished like they had secret lives. I carried the calendar, the worry, the supply list, the emergency contacts, and the guilt. Adrian loved our daughter, but his love often arrived when it was easy to photograph. He posted pictures of himself holding Lily on Sunday mornings after I had already fed her, bathed her, dressed her, and packed the diaper bag. People commented, "Best dad ever." His mother, Patricia, wrote, "My son was born for fatherhood." I would be standing outside the frame with spit up on my shirt and 1 hour of sleep in my body. Still, when I had to travel for work, I told myself he deserved a chance to step up. He said his mother would come by if he needed help. He said Lily's schedule was printed on the fridge. He said he knew where everything was. Then he kissed my forehead at the airport and said, "Stop worrying. Go be brilliant." Those words stayed with me during the flight. Go be brilliant. For a moment, I remembered why I married him. Adrian could be kind when he wanted to be. He could say the perfect thing at the perfect time. He could make a tired woman feel seen, just long enough for her to ignore the pattern of being unseen. My presentation in Chicago was important. I worked as an operations consultant for healthcare systems, and this contract could change everything for my company. It was the kind of room men like Adrian respected because the people inside wore expensive suits, used words like scale and expansion, and had the power to sign checks with many zeros. I had prepared for weeks. I had pumped milk between meetings. I had called home every few hours. The first day went fine. Adrian sent photos of Lily eating mashed bananas, sleeping in her crib, and sitting on the living room rug with blocks around her. He wrote, "See? Daddy's got this." I smiled at the message. I even felt proud. Maybe this trip would help us both. Maybe he would understand how much invisible work parenting required. Maybe I would come home to a husband who finally saw that being a mother and a professional was not magic. It was labor. Then the baby monitor app buzzed during my second-day presentation. At first, I ignored it. I was standing at the front of the conference room, explaining staffing bottlenecks and emergency supply chain risk. The lights were low. My slides were on the big screen. Executives sat around the table with notebooks and coffee cups, listening. My phone was on silent beside my laptop, but the baby monitor notification appeared on my screen because I had connected my phone to the laptop earlier for travel hotspot backup. Sound detected near nursery hallway. That was normal. Maybe Adrian had gone upstairs. Maybe Lily had stirred. I kept speaking. Then another notification appeared. Sound detected. Live feed available. Then another. Sound detected. Something in my stomach tightened. I clicked the small window during a pause, intending only to check quickly. The video loaded. At first, I saw the hallway outside Lily's nursery. Dim afternoon light. White wall. Framed animal prints. The edge of the baby gate. Then I heard the front door downstairs close. A woman laughed. Not Patricia. Not my sister. Not a neighbor. A light, confident laugh, the kind that already believed it belonged in the house. Then, Adrian's voice. "Keep your voice down. Lily is sleeping." The woman said, "So she really left you alone with the baby?" Adrian laughed. "She thinks this work trip is some big career moment." My hand went cold. The conference room blurred. One executive asked, "Ms. Bennett, are you ready for the next section?" I looked at the screen. The baby monitor showed only the hallway, but the sound carried clearly from downstairs. The woman said, "Poor Naomi, always trying so hard." Then Adrian said something I will never forget. "That's the problem. She tries hard at everything, except being the kind of wife a man wants to come home to." The room around me disappeared. I heard a small sound and realized it had come from my own throat. The executives looked at me. My colleague Grace, who had come with me, stood quickly. "Let's take a 5-minute break," she said. "We'll return with the implementation model." She guided me into the hallway before anyone could ask questions. "Naomi, what happened?" I turned the laptop toward her. The baby monitor audio kept playing. The woman's voice came again. "Then why are you still with her?" Adrian answered. "Because timing matters. She pays for too much right now. The house, Lily's daycare, my business insurance. If I leave too early, I lose more than I gain." Grace's face changed. I could not breathe properly. Then the woman asked, "And when the timing is right?" Adrian laughed softly. "Then Naomi will learn that being useful is not the same as being wanted." Grace covered her mouth. I gripped the edge of the laptop so hard my fingers hurt. Useful, not wanted. The words went through me like glass. The woman moved closer to the stairs. For 1 second, the hallway camera caught part of her body in the corner of the frame. A cream dress, a gold bracelet, long hair. Cassandra Vale. His client relations partner. The woman he said I was insecure for questioning. The woman Patricia called such a polished young lady. The woman who had once held my baby at a company picnic and said, "She looks just like Adrian." Lucky girl. Now she was in my house while my baby slept upstairs. I wanted to scream. I wanted to call him. I wanted to leave the conference, run to the airport, fly home, and drag every lie into the street. But then Adrian said something else. Something colder. He said, "By the end of the year, I'll have enough set aside. Then we'll make the move. My mother already said Naomi won't fight too hard if we make her look unstable." Grace whispered, "Oh my God." Cassandra laughed. "Unstable how?" Adrian replied, "She's exhausted, emotional, always worried about Lily. It won't be hard." That was when I stopped shaking. Not because I was calm. Because I understood. This was not only an affair. It was a plan. My husband was not just cheating. He was preparing to take my child, my home, my money, and my dignity by turning my exhaustion into evidence against me. And he had set it all into a baby monitor he forgot existed. Before I continue, tell me where you are watching from tonight, and if someone has ever mistaken your love for weakness, stay with me. Because sometimes the thing they forgot to turn off becomes the thing that turns the whole truth on. I met Adrian Cole when I was 26, before the house, before the baby monitor, before Cassandra's cream dress appeared in my hallway like a warning from a life I did not want to believe was mine. Back then, Adrian was charming in a way that felt almost healing. I had grown up fast. My father died when I was young, and my mother worked long hours as a nurse until her body began to break under double shifts and quiet stress. I learned early that love often looked like being useful. I cooked before I was tall enough to reach the stove safely. I handled bills when my mother was too tired to read the mail. I helped younger cousins with homework. I made myself dependable because dependable children get praised. They also get used. By the time I became an adult, I had turned responsibility into a personality. I studied operations management because I liked solving problems before they became emergencies. I built a career fixing broken systems in hospitals and clinics. People called me calm under pressure. They did not know calm was something I learned because panic had never helped anyone pay rent. Adrian entered my life at a healthcare leadership networking event. He worked in medical supply sales then, though he told people he was building toward his own company. He had a warm smile, a clean haircut, and a voice that made ambition sound like a promise instead of a risk. He asked what I did. I told him. He said, "So you fix chaos?" I laughed. Professionally, yes. He looked at me like I was special. I need someone like that in my life. That should have warned me. At the time, it sounded romantic. We dated for a year before he proposed. He was attentive. He remembered my coffee order. He sent messages before big meetings. He brought soup when my mother was sick. He seemed proud of my work. When we married, I thought I had found a partner. A real one. Not a man who feared a capable woman, but one who admired capability. For the first few years, we were happy enough. Not perfect. No couple is. But there was laughter, Sunday cooking, long drives, dreams written on napkins, plans for a house, a business, children, future trips. Adrian started his medical supply consulting company, and I helped. Of course I helped. I helped build the operating budget. I helped review vendor agreements. I helped design client intake forms. I helped him prepare presentations. I introduced him to clinic administrators. I created the first version of his customer tracking system. I did not ask for equity then. I asked for partnership. That was my mistake. Partnership should be written down when money enters the room. Love can be spoken. Business needs paper. As Adrian's company grew, his gratitude became smaller. At first he said, "Naomi helped me build this." Then, "Naomi supported me while I built this." Then, "My wife has been supportive." Then, nothing. I became the quiet woman behind the man who called himself self-made. When I got pregnant with Lily, I was happy and terrified. Adrian cried when I showed him the test. He lifted me off the floor and spun me until I told him I was dizzy. "We're going to be amazing parents," he said. I believed him. Pregnancy was hard, but he was sweet in public. He came to appointments when his schedule allowed. He posted sonogram pictures. He kissed my belly at family dinners. Patricia cried when we announced it and said, "My son is becoming a father." My son. Not you are becoming parents. That was Patricia. She saw every event in our marriage as evidence of Adrian's importance. When Lily was born, my world changed. The love was immediate and frightening. I remember holding her tiny body against my chest and thinking, I have never been this needed, and I have never loved anything this much. Adrian held her and cried. For 2 weeks he was gentle. Then work got busy. Then he was tired. Then he did not hear her at night. Then he had early meetings. Then he said I was better at soothing her. Then Patricia said, "Men bond differently. Don't pressure him. Pressure him." As if asking a father to learn his baby's feeding schedule was cruelty. I became the default parent before I admitted it. Default parents know things nobody taught them. How many diapers are left? Which cry means gas? Which bottle nipple works? Which pajama zipper sticks? Which medicine is safe? Which doctor returns calls faster? Which daycare form is due Friday? Which fever is watchful and which one means leave now? Adrian loved Lily, but he did not carry her life in his mind the way I did. He carried pictures. I carried systems. And because I carried systems professionally too, everyone assumed I could handle it. My work did not slow down. It could not. My income paid the mortgage, daycare, health insurance, and much of Adrian's business stability during a rough season. He said cash flow was tight. He needed flexibility. His company was close to a breakthrough. Close. That word follows certain men like cologne. I returned from maternity leave, exhausted but determined, pumping between meetings, answering emails at midnight, rocking Lily with one hand while reviewing contracts with the other. Adrian began complaining that I was always tired. I looked at him once, holding a baby bottle and a laptop, and said, "I am always tired because I am always working." He said, "I work too." "Yes, but you get to finish." He did not like that. Cassandra entered his company when Lily was 6 months old. She was hired as a client relations partner, though I later learned she had been recommended by Patricia's friend. She was polished, pretty, and confident in the way women become when they know men in rooms are watching. At first, I tried to like her. She brought Lily a little pink blanket when she visited the office. She praised my work. She said, "Adrian is lucky to have a wife who understands business." I smiled. "Yes, he is." Her eyes flickered. She did not expect me to agree. Soon, Adrian started mentioning her often. "Cassandra says we need better branding. Cassandra thinks I should speak at more conferences. Cassandra says clients respond to confidence. Cassandra thinks you worry too much about operations." That last one made me stop washing dishes. She said what? He leaned against the counter. "Not like that. She just means you focus on problems. I solve problems. Sometimes you create them by expecting them." I looked at him. "That sentence is expensive nonsense." He rolled his eyes. "There you go." There I went. Being practical. Being tired. Being the woman who knew invoices did not pay themselves because Cassandra believed in confidence. The first real sign came one evening when I came home early from a pediatric appointment. Adrian was in his office with the door half closed, talking on the phone. I heard him laugh softly. Then he said, "No, she's not like you. Naomi is strong, but she doesn't make life feel light." I stood outside the door holding Lily's diaper bag. Strong? Again. Always strong. Strong had become the word people used when they wanted permission not to comfort me. I asked him about the call later. He said I misunderstood. Cassandra and I were talking about team energy. Team energy? You always make things sound worse. I wanted to believe him, because believing betrayal is like stepping into cold water. Your whole body resists. So I ignored signs, late meetings, changed passwords, gym sessions, new cologne, a sudden interest in dress shoes, Patricia praising Cassandra too often, and Lily's baby monitor catching his voice on work calls when he forgot the nursery door was open. The baby monitor had been my idea, not because I distrusted Adrian, because Lily had started pulling herself up in the crib, and I worried constantly. The monitor had a camera in her room and one in the upstairs hallway. It streamed to an app on my phone. It detected crying, loud sound, and movement near the nursery door. Adrian hated it. "Feels like surveillance," he said. "It's for the baby." I know, but still, that should have warned me too. People doing nothing wrong rarely fear a monitor pointed at a crib. The Chicago trip came at the worst possible time. My company needed the contract. Adrian said his business was improving, but still unstable. Lily's daycare tuition had increased. The mortgage had adjusted. Our savings were thinner than I liked. I needed this win. Adrian encouraged me to go. Now I knew why. He wanted the house. The time. The privacy. The chance to bring Cassandra into my living room and speak freely while our child slept upstairs. Back in the hotel hallway in Chicago, Grace closed the laptop halfway, but not enough to stop recording. She looked at me like she was afraid I might collapse. "Naomi," she whispered, "we need to save this." That snapped me back. "What?" "The recording. Does the app save clips?" "Yes, I think so. Sound events. Download them, now." My hands shook as I opened the app settings. The monitor had stored multiple sound-triggered clips automatically. Adrian's voice, Cassandra's voice, their conversation, enough to prove what I had heard. Grace took over when my fingers failed. She saved the clips to my phone, my laptop, a secure drive, and emailed them to herself with my permission. Call Vivian, she said. Vivian Hart was my attorney for business matters. She had helped me form my consulting company and once told me, "A good system assumes people can disappoint you." I had laughed then. I was not laughing now. Vivian answered during the second ring. Naomi? My husband is at home with his mistress while our baby is sleeping upstairs. Silence. Then, are you physically safe? I'm in Chicago. Is the baby safe? I think so. She's asleep. I can hear them downstairs. Do you have recording? The baby monitor saved clips. Do not delete anything. Do not call him yet. Do not threaten. Do not confront while you are away from the child. My chest tightened. I need to go home. Yes, but carefully. Who can get to the baby locally? My neighbor, Mrs. Ruth. She has a spare key. She's on the daycare pickup list too. Call her. Ask her to check on Lily under a normal excuse. Do not mention the affair yet if you think she may react strongly. Mrs. Ruth was 72, lived next door, and loved Lily like a grandchild. She was kind, sharp, and fully capable of hitting Adrian with a purse if necessary. So Vivian was right. I needed to be careful. I called her. Baby, she answered. Aren't you supposed to be presenting? My voice almost broke. Mrs. Ruth, can you please go check on Lily? The monitor detected noise, and Adrian isn't answering my text. Please just say I asked you to check because I was worried about her nap. There was a pause. Mrs. Ruth's voice lowered. What's wrong? Please, just check first. I'm going now. I watched the monitor while she crossed the yard. The doorbell rang. Downstairs, Cassandra whispered. Who is that? Adrian said a word I will not repeat. Then footsteps. The monitor showed nothing but hallway, but audio carried. The front door opened. Mrs. Ruth's voice came bright and sharp. Adrian, Naomi asked me to check on my little Lily. You know how mothers worry. Adrian sounded strained. She's fine, Mrs. Ruth. I'll just peek at her. That's not necessary. Move, son. Grace almost laughed through her tears. A minute later, Mrs. Ruth appeared on the hallway camera, climbing the stairs slowly. She looked directly at the nursery monitor like she knew I was watching. She entered Lily's room. I switched camera views. There was my baby, asleep, safe, one fist near her cheek. Mrs. Ruth touched her back gently, checked her breathing, then whispered toward the monitor. She's okay, baby. I broke down. Grace held me. Mrs. Ruth took Lily from the crib a few minutes later, pretending the baby had woken. She told Adrian she was taking her next door so he could finish whatever company work had him so busy. Cassandra did not appear on camera, but Mrs. Ruth later told me she saw cream fabric disappearing into the kitchen hallway. Adrian let Lily go because refusing would have looked suspicious. That saved me from doing something reckless. Once Lily was safe next door, I booked the first flight home. Grace handled the rest of the presentation. She told the executives I had a family emergency. They were kind. I barely remember leaving the hotel, airport lights, boarding, landing, or the ride home. I remember Vivian calling again. Naomi, listen to me. You are going to want answers tonight. Your priority is Lily, your safety and evidence. Do not enter a shouting match alone. I want him out. I know. Is the house in your name? Both names, but I paid most of it. That is later. Tonight we handle access and temporary safety. I'll meet you there. When I arrived, I did not go home first. I went next door. Mrs. Ruth opened the door before I knocked. Lily was awake in her playpen, chewing on a soft giraffe toy. I dropped to the floor and held her. She smelled like baby lotion and crackers. I cried into her hair. Mrs. Ruth stood over me, one hand on my shoulder. I saw enough, she said quietly. I looked up. Was she there? Yes. My chest tightened. Mrs. Ruth's eyes were hard. And that fool had the nerve to act like I interrupted a business meeting. Vivian arrived 20 minutes later. We sat at Mrs. Ruth's kitchen table while Lily played with blocks. I showed Vivian the clips. She listened with no expression, which made the words feel even worse. Useful is not the same as wanted. If I leave too early, I lose more than I gain. My mother already said Naomi won't fight too hard if we make her look unstable. Vivian closed the laptop. Well, she said, he has made a generous donation to your future case. I almost laughed. Almost. What now? Now you do not sleep under the same roof tonight. We document. We send notice. We preserve recordings. We identify financial risks. We review accounts. We prepare for custody. And Naomi? Yes? You are not unstable. You are betrayed. There is a difference. That sentence held me together. We went to my house with Mrs. Ruth and Vivian. Adrian's car was still in the driveway. Cassandra's was gone. Of course, men like Adrian love company during betrayal and privacy during consequences. He opened the door before I used my key. His face showed surprise, then panic, then practiced irritation. You're home early. I looked at him. Yes. Vivian stepped beside me. His eyes moved to her. What is this? Vivian smiled politely. Accountability with heels. He frowned. Naomi, why is your lawyer here? I looked past him into my own house. Where is Cassandra? His face changed. Excuse me? Where is she? He glanced at Vivian. Naomi, I don't know what you think. The baby monitor was streaming. The words hit him in the face. I watched him understand. First confusion, then memory, then fear. He looked toward the stairs, then back at me. You recorded me? Vivian lifted a hand. Careful, Mr. Cole. The device was installed in your child's nursery area, in your family home, for child safety. It activated because of sound near the nursery hallway. If you are concerned about what it captured, that is because of what you said, not because of what monitored it. He swallowed. Naomi, let's talk privately. No, we are husband and wife. You remembered that too late. His jaw tightened. Mrs. Ruth appeared behind me with Lily's diaper bag. Adrian looked at her. You had no right taking my child. Mrs. Ruth stepped forward. I took a baby out of a house where her father was entertaining foolishness under her mother's roof. His face flushed. My roof? I laughed. That laugh surprised me. There it was. My roof. Not ours now. Not when he felt cornered. Vivian said, Mr. Cole, Lily is safe with her mother. We are not here for a domestic confrontation. Naomi and the baby will be staying elsewhere tonight. You are not to remove financial documents, devices, or business records from the home. You will communicate through counsel regarding separation terms. He stared at me. Separation? Yes, I said. His voice lowered. You're overreacting. Useful. Not wanted. Make her look unstable. My body remembered every word. No, I said. I am reacting exactly on time. He pointed toward the living room. You don't understand what you heard. I looked at him. That is your first mistake. I heard you clearly. Cassandra and I were talking through possibilities. Possibilities that included making me look unstable? His mouth closed. Vivian watched him like a cat near a careless bird. I continued. You brought her into our home while our baby slept upstairs. He said. Nothing happened. This time, that is not the point. He looked offended. Like betrayal only counted if it followed the script he feared most. I stepped inside and walked past him. The living room looked almost normal. My throw pillows, Lily's toy basket, a wine glass on the coffee table, 2 glasses, one with lipstick on the rim, cream lipstick. I stared at it. That tiny mark hurt more than it should have. A stranger's mouth on a glass I washed. A woman laughing in a room where I had rocked my baby at 3 a.m. A plan against me spoken under the ceiling I helped pay for. I picked up the glass with a paper towel and placed it in a zip bag Vivian handed me. He looked shocked. Are you serious? Vivian said. Very. We collected my essentials. Lily's clothes, documents, passports, birth certificates, my laptop, hard drives, business files. Bank cards, a few sentimental things. Adrian followed us from room to room, trying different voices. Angry, soft, confused, victim. I made a mistake. You always put work first. You've been distant. Cassandra understands pressure. I was venting. My mother was just worried about you. We don't need lawyers. Think about Lily. That last one made me turn. I am. For the first time, he looked afraid of me. Not physically. I had not raised my voice. He was afraid because I was no longer trying to make him understand. I was moving. Women become dangerous to selfish men when they stop explaining and start preparing. I left that night with Lily sleeping against my chest. Mrs. Ruth drove us to her house. Vivian followed. Adrian stood in the doorway watching. No mistress. No performance. No confidence. Just a man who forgot a baby monitor and accidentally told the truth to the one person he needed to fool. The next weeks were brutal. Not because I doubted leaving, because leaving a shared life is never simple, especially with a child. My heart broke in waves. In the morning when Lily reached for her father's photo book. At night when I remembered early marriage laughter. In grocery aisles when I saw snacks he liked. During work calls when my voice sounded normal while my life sat in legal folders. Adrian tried to control the story immediately. He told Patricia I had abandoned the home. She called me 20 times. I answered once with Vivian listening. Naomi, Patricia said coldly, you have taken this too far. I almost smiled. Of course. Not Adrian. Not Cassandra. Not the plan to make me look unstable. Me. You knew, I said. She paused. Knew what? That he planned to use my exhaustion against me. She inhaled sharply. I never said that. You said I wouldn't fight hard if he made me look unstable. Silence. Then, he told you that? The monitor did. Her voice became smaller. You recorded private family conversation? I laughed softly. Patricia, your son brought his mistress into my house while my baby slept upstairs and discussed how to weaken me in divorce. Choose your next moral concern carefully. She hung up. Good. Adrian's lawyer contacted Vivian within days. Their tone was aggressive at first. They claimed I had removed the child improperly, invaded privacy, and was threatening Adrian's relationship with Lily. Vivian responded with the clips. Not all. Enough. The tone changed. We filed for temporary custody arrangements, home access rules, financial restraints, and preservation of business records. The baby monitor recordings were not a magic wand. Life is not a movie, but they mattered. They showed poor judgment. They showed planning. They showed Adrian discussing strategy to portray me negatively. They showed Cassandra's presence in the home during childcare time. They showed Patricia's involvement. And most importantly, they reminded me I was not crazy. That may sound small. It is not. When someone has spent months calling you insecure, tired, emotional, suspicious, and controlling, evidence becomes oxygen. The custody hearing was tense. Adrian arrived in a charcoal suit, looking tired but polished. Patricia sat behind him. Cassandra did not come. Smart woman. His lawyer argued that I had overreacted to a private conversation, that there was no evidence Lily had been harmed, and that Adrian remained a loving father. Vivian did not argue that Adrian did not love Lily. That was not the point. She argued that love without judgment could still place a child in unstable circumstances. She presented the recordings carefully. She highlighted that Lily had been in Adrian's care when he invited Cassandra to the home and discussed plans to use my postpartum exhaustion and parental concern against me. The judge listened. Adrian looked down during the clip where he said being useful was not the same as being wanted. I did not look at him. I looked at the judge, at the wall, at Vivian's notes. Anywhere but the man I had once trusted enough to leave our baby with. The judge ordered temporary shared custody but with strong conditions. No romantic partners present during parenting time for the immediate period. No disparaging comments. No discussions of divorce in front of Lily. Parenting exchanges through a neutral location. Communication through a parenting app. Adrian would have scheduled time, but not overnight at first until routines were reviewed. He was furious. Outside court, he approached me. "Naomi, you're punishing me through my daughter." I looked at him. "No, I am protecting her from your poor decisions. She is my child too." "Yes, so act like her father before acting like a single man." His face reddened. Vivian said, "Walk away, Mr. Cole." He did. The divorce became a long unraveling. Our finances were messier than I thought. Not because I had been careless. Because Adrian had been hiding. Business credit lines, personal charges, money moved to an account I did not know about, payments to Cassandra marked as client development, hotel charges, meals, consulting fees, gifts disguised as marketing expenses. Vivian and a forensic accountant named Denise Carter began tracing everything. Denise was calm, brilliant, and terrifying with spreadsheets. She once looked at a bank statement and said, "Men always think vague labels are invisibility cloaks." She found payments to Cassandra for brand strategy during months when no client deliverables existed. She found Adrian had been setting aside money while telling me the business needed my support. She found he had used our marital card for dinners with Cassandra while I was ordering discount baby supplies and returning work dresses because daycare cost too much. That made me cry in a different way. Not loud. Humiliated. There is a special pain in realizing you were budgeting with honesty while someone else was spending inside a lie. Adrian tried to apologize after the financial review began. Not fully. Not at first. He sent a message through the parenting app. "I hate how things happened." Vivian helped me reply. "Please keep messages related to Lily." He tried again. "We need closure." I replied, "Closure will occur through the divorce process. Lily needs diapers at your house. Please confirm you purchased them." Grace said that response deserved a trophy. Cassandra disappeared from Adrian's life faster than expected. Apparently, the charm of a man leaving his wife fades when there are court orders, financial reviews, parenting schedules, and recordings of him sounding cruel. She resigned from his company within 2 months. She sent me one email. "Naomi, I want you to know Adrian misrepresented the state of your marriage. I am sorry for my role." I stared at it, then forwarded it to Vivian. Vivian replied, "Wonderful. She has become useful in a way she did not intend." We requested more information. Cassandra cooperated partially, likely to protect herself. She confirmed Adrian had told her we were basically separated, that I was controlling and unstable, and that his mother supported him leaving. She claimed she did not know Lily was home that afternoon until she arrived. Maybe true, maybe not. I did not build my healing around Cassandra's honesty. She was not my husband. Adrian was. Patricia resisted longer. She continued telling relatives I had trapped Adrian with recordings. Then someone in the family asked why Adrian's mistress was in the house during baby care. Patricia stopped discussing it publicly. Good. Silence can be a small form of education. Meanwhile, I rebuilt my daily life. Mrs. Ruth let Lily and me stay with her for 6 weeks until I moved into a rental townhouse. I could have fought to return to the house immediately, but I needed peace more than walls. The marital home became part of the divorce negotiation later. The townhouse was smaller. No grand staircase, no perfect nursery, no polished living room Cassandra had once mocked. But it was safe. I set up Lily's crib in the sunniest room. I put her stuffed animals on a white shelf. I bought new dishes because I could not bear the thought of lipstick on old glasses. I worked from the small dining table during naps. At night, after Lily slept, I sometimes opened the baby monitor app out of habit. But now the camera showed only her crib. Quiet, breathing, safe. No voices downstairs. No hidden plan. No laughter. Just my daughter sleeping in a home where nobody was using her mother's exhaustion as a weapon. That felt like wealth. My company survived the chaos. Actually, it grew. The Chicago executives gave us the contract. Grace had completed the presentation brilliantly and later told them I had a family emergency. Months later, when I trusted them more, one executive said, "Your team's response under pressure impressed us." Pressure. They had no idea. The contract helped stabilize me financially during divorce. It also gave me the confidence to stop apologizing for ambition. Adrian had once mocked my work trip. She thinks this is some big career moment. He was right. It was. Just not the way he meant. That contract became the foundation for Bennett Systems Group, my healthcare operations firm. We expanded into 3 states, hired more consultants, and created family leave policies better than anything I had been offered. I built a company where new mothers did not have to pretend they were not exhausted, and fathers were expected to know schedules too. I started speaking quietly about invisible labor in professional homes. Not my full story at first, just the lesson. Any system that depends on one person remembering everything will eventually break that person. Women came up to me after panels with tears in their eyes. One whispered, "My husband calls me controlling because I keep the family calendar." Another said, "I went back to work and still do every daycare pickup." Another said, "He wants custody now that he has a girlfriend who thinks he's a great dad." Their stories sounded different. The pattern sounded familiar. I began developing a program called the Visible Load Project, helping families, especially professional women, document and redistribute household labor before crisis. It included calendars, legal planning, financial review, co-parenting structures, and emergency support for women leaving manipulative marriages. Vivian taught the legal module. Denise taught financial visibility. Mrs. Ruth recorded a short video called "If you don't know the diaper count, you are not babysitting, you are visiting." It went viral. She became unbearable for 2 weeks. Adrian saw the video. He sent, "Was that about me?" I replied, "Please confirm Lily's pediatric appointment pickup for Friday." Growth. The divorce finalized 18 months after the monitor incident. I kept majority physical custody, with structured parenting time for Adrian that expanded as he completed co-parenting counseling and demonstrated stability. The house was sold because neither of us wanted to keep it after everything. I received a fair financial settlement, including credit for business funds and marital assets Adrian had tried to hide. Adrian's company survived, but smaller. His reputation took a hit, not because I blasted him online, but because court records, client whispers, Cassandra's departure, and his own poor decisions weakened the story he had told about himself. Self-made, stable, family man, visionary, all those words require maintenance. Truth is expensive when the image is fake. After the final hearing, Adrian asked to speak to me in the courthouse hallway. Vivian stood nearby, watching like a polite security system. He looked tired, not destroyed, just less polished. "Naomi," he said. "Yes, I'm sorry." I waited. He swallowed. "For bringing Cassandra into the house, for saying those things, for planning against you while you were taking care of everything, for letting my mother believe the worst about you, for using your exhaustion like evidence, for making you feel useful instead of loved." That last one nearly broke me. Useful instead of loved. Exactly. Tears came to my eyes, but I did not wipe them. He needed to see that apology did not erase impact. "I hear you," I said. "Can you forgive me? I can stop carrying the question." His face fell slightly. "That's not yes. No, it is what I have." He nodded. "Fair." Fair. The word felt strange from him. Maybe he was learning. Maybe consequence had finally become a teacher. We became better co-parents slowly. Not friends. Not enemies. Something careful. He learned Lily's routines because the parenting app and court orders made ignorance inconvenient. Over time, inconvenience became habit, and habit became care. He stopped performing fatherhood and started practicing it. He attended therapy. So did I. He apologized again years later without asking anything in return. That apology mattered more. But I never went back. People think forgiveness and reunion are sisters. They are not. Sometimes forgiveness is simply returning someone's emotional belongings and locking your own door. Lily grew. She does not remember the baby monitor incident, of course. She remembers the townhouse with yellow curtains, Mrs. Ruth's cookies, her father picking her up on Saturdays, her mother building a company from the dining table. When she got older and asked why we divorced, I told her age-appropriate truth. Your dad and I broke trust, and I needed to build a safer life. She asked, "Did he hurt you?" I said, "He hurt my heart and my trust." She nodded. "Did he say sorry?" "Yes." "Did that fix it?" "No, but it helped him become better for you." She thought about that. Can people be sorry and still not get everything back? I smiled sadly. Yes, baby. That is one of the most important things to learn. When Lily was 10, she found one of my old monitor devices in a storage box. What is this? A baby monitor. For me? Yes. She laughed. Were you spying on me? No, I was making sure you were safe. She held it up. Did it work? I looked at the little camera, the small thing that had caught a giant truth. Yes, I said. It worked better than anyone expected. Years after the divorce, I bought a new home. Not huge. Not for show. A warm house with a garden, a bright kitchen, and an office with glass doors. Lily helped choose her room color. Mrs. Ruth insisted on blessing the kitchen by making stew before the furniture arrived. Grace hung a framed quote in my office. Useful is not the same as wanted. Never confuse the two again. At first, I hated seeing those words. Then I kept them, because they reminded me of the sentence that broke me open and the life that grew after. I also installed cameras, not because I wanted to live in fear, because safety is not paranoia after betrayal. It is design. There is a difference. My work with the Visible Load project became national. We helped families have hard conversations before resentment became poison. We helped women document unpaid labor in divorce. We helped men who genuinely wanted to become better partners learn what they had never been taught. We helped courts understand parenting labor beyond photographs. The baby monitor story eventually became public, but not with names at first. I shared it in a speech without identifying Adrian. I said, "One day, a device meant to protect my child protected me too. It revealed that the person who called me emotional had been planning to use my exhaustion against me." The room went silent. Then women stood. Not all at once. One. Then another. Then another. Afterward, a man approached me with tears in his eyes. "I think I've been letting my wife carry everything," he said. "Then stop thinking and ask her for the list," I replied. He nodded. I hope he did. Adrian later saw the speech online. He sent one message. "You told it fairly. Thank you for not using my name." I looked at the message for a long time, then replied, "I told it for the women who need to hear themselves clearly, not for you." He answered, "I understand." Maybe he did. My husband did not know the baby monitor was streaming at home. He did not know I heard what he said to his mistress. He did not know his words would become the evidence that helped protect me. He did not know his plan would become the beginning of my freedom. But I know now that betrayal often reveals more than it destroys. It revealed my marriage, my husband, my mother-in-law, my exhaustion, my strength, my need for proof, my ability to move when my heart was breaking, my daughter's safety, my work's purpose, my future. If you are listening and someone is calling you unstable because you are tired, hear me clearly. Being exhausted is not being unfit. Being emotional is not being weak. Being suspicious after repeated disrespect is not being crazy. Being the person who remembers every bottle, every bill, every appointment, every password, every medication, every grocery item, every deadline, and every hidden problem does not make you controlling. It makes you loaded. And if someone benefits from that load while mocking the way you carry it, pay attention. If they call you useful but not desirable, pay attention. If they want your money but not your voice, pay attention. If they praise your strength while refusing to help, pay attention. If they begin building a story where your exhaustion becomes their evidence, document everything. Not for revenge, for reality. Save messages. Protect accounts. Know your rights. Call safe people. Do not confront alone if you are vulnerable. Do not let shame keep you silent. Do not let someone else's private cruelty become your public confusion. And remember this, the truth does not need to be loud to be powerful. Sometimes it comes through a small camera in a quiet hallway while a baby sleeps. Sometimes it comes through a saved clip. Sometimes it comes through the voice of a man who thought nobody was listening. Today, Lily is happy. Adrian is present in her life in a healthier way than before. Mrs. Ruth still lives next door to my old memories and insists she is the reason everyone survived because she rescued the baby and scared the fool. She is not entirely wrong. Grace is now a partner in my company. Vivian still tells me paperwork is love with boundaries. Denise still finds money trails men thought were buried under vague labels. And me? I no longer measure love by how useful I am. I measure it by safety, by truth, by rest, by whether I can put down the load and not watch everything fall apart. I built a life where I am wanted, not just needed. A home where my daughter sees partnership differently. A company where invisible labor is named. A heart that no longer begs a man to recognize the weight he refused to carry. My husband brought his mistress into our home while our baby slept upstairs. He said I was useful, not wanted. He planned to make me look unstable, but the baby monitor heard him. And when the truth came through that tiny speaker, it did not just expose his betrayal. It gave me back my own voice.